The debt limit crisis finally over this morning.
On this vote, the yeas are 63, the nays are 36. The 60-vote threshold having been achieved, the bill is passed.
With just days to spare, the Senate passing that debt limit deal late last night and preventing an economic catastrophe. President Biden is now set to sign the bill and address the nation later today at the White House. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer giving a thumbs up after the deal passed. He's also been billing this as a victory for Democrats.
House Republicans were ready to take default hostage in order to pass a radical, hard-right agenda that never could have passed with the American people. So many of the destructive provisions in the Republican bill are gone. This bill was a total rejection of what the Republicans wanted, and look at the vote. That proves that our strategy was the right strategy.
That strategy, though, was rejected by some members of his own party, some Senate Democrats refusing to vote to support that agreement.
We should never have been put in this position to begin with. This is about paying the ransom to a bunch of hostage takers. And that is not how we should run this government. It's not good for the people of this country.
CNN congressional correspondent Lauren Fox joins us live from Capitol Hill this morning. So the debt limit deal ends up with decent bipartisan support in the House and the Senate. What is the feeling there this morning?
Well, it's a coalition that you probably are going to see again, Erica, as the year drags on. That's because you have divided government here. You have a House of Representatives controlled by Republicans. You have Democrats controlling the Senate and the White House. And I just want to go back to the amazing feat last night in the U.S. Senate, not because they passed that, but because they were doing it so quickly. They had about a dozen amendment votes, and one after another, Chuck Schumer, the majority leader, was keeping track of how long each vote was taking. I just want to tell the American people, usually the U.S. Senate does not move that quickly. Typically, it takes them about an hour, sometimes even more, to have a single vote. Last night, they kept members on the floor. They were trying to move through about a dozen amendments very expeditiously. Finally, they got there shortly before midnight. But one thing that became very clear last night, this is a bipartisan coalition you're going to see again at the end of September. Lawmakers are going to have to pass their spending bills. We also know they have to pass a farm bill. They made some assurances last night that there could be another supplemental spending bill for Ukraine. So this is a bipartisan coalition that is going to have to come together on Capitol Hill again and again because we're in divided government. Erica?
As we noted, we're going to hear from the president later today, but the White House has actually been fairly quiet this week, it seems like.
Yeah, but you know, one thing that we certainly can't hear this morning are the sighs of relief from White House officials, not only because this legislation averts a potential default that could have come as early as Monday, but also because it really helps to smooth the path for this White House over the rest of President Biden's term. That's because this bill incentivizes Congress to pass regular government funding bills by the end of the year to avert a government shutdown or face across the board to defense and non-defense cuts of about 1% to the budget next year. That's a major piece that White House officials have been stressing to me as one of the major benefits of this bill. Now, listen, President Biden, he put out a statement last night hailing this as a major win for the American people and for the economy. And he also said that America is a nation that pays its bills and that this vote proves that, this bipartisan vote. He thanked the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell for passing this bill quickly and getting it through. And he now looks forward to signing this bill as soon as possible. We're told that that could happen as early as today. But as you mentioned, tonight, President Biden will address the American people from the Oval Office at 7 p.m. This will be his first address to the nation from the Oval Office, certainly something to watch for.
Jeremy, yesterday we saw the president take what appeared to be a pretty hard fall at that commencement speech at the Air Force. How's he doing? We know he made a joke of it. He made a lot of light of it. But do we know how he's doing?
Well, the White House says that he is totally fine, that he simply tripped over that sandbag that was left on the stage and we should note that this came after he shook hands and saluted cadets for over 90 minutes on stage yesterday, hundreds of those cadets. But the president did indeed make light of it. You can see how he's doing for yourself. Take a look at how he returned to the White House last night. And you see the president there doing a little bit of a two-step there to show folks that he's doing just fine. That's how the White House said he was doing, and looks that way too.
Little two-step, the sandbag shuffle. We'll come up with lots of names for it. Jeremy, Lauren, nice to see you both this morning. Thank you.